We are currently living through the greatest technological gold rush in human history. Every single day, millions of us are logging in, paying our $20 monthly subscriptions, and building our futures on top of artificial intelligence. We are using these platforms to build independent businesses, to automate our tedious workflows, to create software, to generate income. The promise is intoxicating. Use AI to multiply your output, and you can finally compete with the big guys. But if you step back from the hype cycle and look closely at the underlying mechanics of this new economy, you begin to realize something incredibly uncomfortable. The very same platforms we are paying to build with are quietly positioning themselves to compete directly against us. Every niche workflow you discover, every clever automation you build, every software idea you manage to get off the ground, every specialized service business powered by an API, eventually, the platform itself will simply absorb it. It starts out looking like innovation, but what it actually represents is the most efficient, ruthless corporate strategy ever devised. In Silicon Valley, there is an old term for this. It's called Sherlocking. Back in the early 2000s, a third-party developer built an incredibly popular search application for the Mac called Sherlock. It was a massive success. And then Apple simply built that exact same search functionality natively into the operating system. The independent app was rendered completely useless overnight. The startup was dead. It was Sherlocked. What happened to that one company 20 years ago is now happening across the entire AI ecosystem every single month at lightspeed. When ChatGPT first launched, a massive ecosystem of wrapper startups exploded overnight. Developers realized they could use the OpenAI API to build highly specialized tools. They built apps that could write marketing copy. They built apps that let you upload a PDF and chat with it. They built niche data analysis tools. Investors poured hundreds of millions of dollars into these companies. Startups like Jasper and Copy AI were valued at astronomical numbers simply because they wrapped an interface around a language model. And then the foundational platform simply pushed an update. OpenAI added native PDF to ChatGPT. They added advanced data analysis. They upgraded the native writing capabilities and launched the custom GPT store. In a single afternoon, dozens of multi-million-dollar startups were evaporated. Their entire business model, which took months of engineering and marketing to build, was reduced to a one-click drop-down menu inside the parent platform. If your entire business relies on being a middleman between an AI's capability and a customer's problem, your lifespan is severely limited, because the AI doesn't want a middleman. But it's not just that the platforms are copying features, it is much deeper and much more predatory than that, because we are the ones giving them the ideas. Think about the relationship between an AI platform and a developer today. A developer comes up with a brilliant idea for a niche workflow, say an automated system for writing specialized legal contracts. They spend 6 months refining the prompts. They pay the AI platform thousands of dollars in API fees to test and run the system. They spend their own money acquiring customers to prove the market exists. The developer is taking on all the financial risk, they are doing all the marketing, they are finding the product market fit. But worse than that, the developer is actively feeding the platform the exact data it needs to learn the workflow. Every API call is a training signal. Every successful prompt is a blueprint. The AI platform gets to sit back, analyze the global traffic data, see exactly which specialized workflows are the most profitable, and then train their next foundational model to do it natively out of the box. We aren't just paying for access to an AI. We are acting as an unpaid, outsourced research and development department for a monopoly. We pay them to figure out what to build next, and our reward is being made obsolete. Right now, people say, just adapt, build a deeper moat, use AI to build software faster. And it's true. Today, building a complex application still takes real skill. Full-stack development with AI is not as easy as the Twitter gurus claim. Getting complex systems working reliably, managing databases, and deploying infrastructure still requires deep technical knowledge. A wrapper is easy to kill, but a fully integrated software platform is much harder. But we have to be brutally honest about the trajectory we are on. AI is improving at a terrifying exponential rate. We are moving from simple text generation to fully autonomous agents. Companies are already deploying AI coders like Devin that don't just generate snippets of code but actively read repositories, debug errors, and deploy full applications entirely on their own. If an AI can execute full-stack development, what happens to the thousands of development agencies that charge businesses a premium to build custom software? Their entire business model vanishes. The barrier to entry for software creation drops to zero, which means the competition skyrockets to infinity. When everyone is a developer, no one is. At some point in the very near future, software creation will become entirely automated. The value of technical execution, the ability to write code, to link databases, to deploy servers, will drop effectively to zero. When the platform itself becomes the builder, the marketplace, the service provider, and the employee all at once, what happens to the creators? What happens to the developers? What happens to the startups squeezed in the middle? For decades, the path to wealth in the digital age was learning to code. It was the ultimate middle-class escalator. If you could speak the language of machines, you were incredibly valuable. But the platforms are burning that bridge. They are democratizing access to software creation, which sounds beautiful on a press release, but what it actually means is the complete commoditization of technical labor.
And this isn't just about software developers. This is the exact same dynamic that will eventually hit every sector of the economy. Because once the cognitive and technical middlemen are automated away, the physical world is next. If AI eventually replaces physical labor through advanced robotics and automation, the exact same platform squeeze will happen to the physical economy.
The companies that own the foundational models won't just sell software. They will lease the robots, they will own the supply chains, they will absorb the logistics networks, they will become the infrastructure of reality itself. We are watching the centralization of power on a scale that human history has never seen. We are moving from a free market economy with millions of competing businesses to a rented economy where everyone simply licenses capability from 3 or 4 massive server farms. Even the creative fields are not safe. Graphic designers, videographers, copywriters, and content creators are already feeling the squeeze. The tools that make them faster today will eventually bypass them entirely tomorrow. What happens when an AI can generate a 10-minute, fully edited, perfectly narrated documentary on any topic instantly? Who needs a creator when the platform can generate the exact content you want, tailored perfectly to your psychology in real time?
What happens to a society when millions of intelligent, capable people are simply no longer economically necessary? When the skills they spent decades refining can be executed by a monthly subscription? This isn't an anti-AI message. Like everyone else, I use these tools every single day. They are incredible. They allow a single person to do the work of an entire agency.
But we have to start asking much harder questions about where this specific path leads. We have to look at the economic incentives of the platforms we are building on. Because right now, it feels less like we are entering an era of unprecedented human empowerment, and more like we are building the scaffolding for the ultimate corporate monopolies.
They are selling us the tools to dig our own economic graves, and we are thanking them for the shovel. We have to understand that we are operating on a compressed timeline. The gap between a human capability and an artificial capability is closing by the week. Think about education. Millions of people are paying for traditional degrees, hoping that specialized knowledge will protect them from the wave of automation. But knowledge is exactly what the models are best at distributing.
We used to think that highly paid, highly educated professions were safe: doctors, lawyers, accountants. But if you look at the recent updates from the foundational models, they are passing the bar exam in the 90th percentile. They are diagnosing complex diseases faster and more accurately than a panel of human experts.
The platforms aren't just absorbing software developers, they are absorbing human expertise across the board. When expertise becomes a cheap, infinitely scalable commodity, the entire economic structure of the middle class is called into question. The game is changing faster than society can possibly adapt. We are being told to keep running on the treadmill, but the treadmill is accelerating and the platforms control the speed dial. Every time you accept the terms of service for a new AI platform, you are entering into a completely asymmetric relationship. You are providing them with your data, your usage patterns, your specialized workflows, and your subscription fee. And in return, they give you temporary access to a tool that will eventually be used to replace your economic function.
It is the most brilliant, perfectly executed extraction of human value in history. And the truly terrifying part is that we have no choice but to participate. If you refuse to use AI today, you will be outcompeted by someone who does.
You are forced to adopt the tools of your own eventual obsolescence just to survive in the present moment. We have to ask ourselves, are we building a future where humans are liberated from tedious labor to pursue higher meaning? Or are we simply building a hyper-efficient machine that no longer requires our participation to generate profit? The AI trap is not just a problem for startups or software developers. It is the defining economic question of our generation.
The platforms are watching, they are learning, and they are absorbing.